Hi, I'm Rusty Wise with the Wise News Network, and we are in the small town of Cherryville, North Carolina, which is located 35 miles west of Charlotte. Now, what makes this little town unique from any other town in the United States is New Year's Day. On New Year's, Cherryville has what they call the Cherryville New Year shooters. If you've never witnessed the Cherryville New Year shooters, you're in for a treat. The history starts hundreds and hundreds of years, even maybe thousands of years ago in Europe, through the German ancestries of America. They came from Germany, the Rhine River area, came to Philadelphia, and back then they were called the Mummers. And German immigrants immigrated into the Cherryville, North Carolina area, and with that they brought their traditions. Up north, they have the Mummers. They still have the Mummers Parade, and it was called Mummering with New Year shooting, which you go around, shoot muskets, sing songs, and have musical instruments. Cherryville, North Carolina kept the musket part and the chant. Philadelphia still has the mummering part with the parade. Now, Cherryville has a rich history of New Year shooting. It was here way before Cherryville was even incorporated in the late 1800s. Now, as you can see around Cherryville, there's a statue behind me. I'm at Heritage Park here on Jacob Street, and this statue was erected in 1999 with the help of the city of Cherryville and Mayor Jack Davis and the Cherryville New Year shooters. It was a joint venture. Also riding through town, you can see the mural, which is located on Mountain Street and at the corner of Mountain Street and Main Street. That mural, which is huge, you have to witness it in person, was commissioned in 2016. So if you come to Cherryville, there's several areas you need to visit. That's the statue behind me. There's the mural here on Main Street and Mountain, and also the Cherryville Historical Museum, where the Cherryville New Year shooters and the traditional New Year shooters have an exhibit that tells all about the New Year shooters in Cherryville. There's artifacts, pictures, videos, old films. So if you get a chance to come to Cherryville, stop by the museum and see that also. The museum is open on Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I have a special guest with me today. And if he'll come over here on camera. Now, we have Mr. Charles Sisk with the Cherryville New Year Shooters, and he is the president and has been the past few years. And Charles, you've been going how long?
If I make it till January the 1st, it'll be 77 years.
Now, you've been shooting 77 years. Now, would you like to tell the audience your age?
I'm 86 years old.
And you've been going for 77 straight years. Now, why do you New Year's shoot for 77 years? What keeps you going?
Because I love it. I just have a lot of fun doing it and get to meet people, and I really enjoy it.
Now, New Year's shooting is unique. And one of the things that New Year's shooting is supposed to do is ward off evil spirits and bless the crops.
And get rid of all the ghosts.
Have you ever seen a ghost on New Year's?
No. They're afraid of us.
So it must be working.
It's working.
Now, the Cherryville New Year shooters shot at the home ball games this year and had videos online on social media, and those videos have had millions of views. Now, some of the audience and some of the social media fans, I would call them, kind of gave the shooters a hard time for shooting around school property. Now, can you explain a little bit about what we do as far as the shooters? I'm part of the shooters, so I'm the secretary of the Cherryville New Year Shooters, so kind of educate a little bit on the musket itself.
Well, the muskets today, most of them are reproductions. Some people still have some original ones, which I do. And these guns are used to shoot in the New Year's. They are overloaded to an extent of what you're supposed to make a big boom. We go around to, I think, about 60 people, which we have a route where we go to these people's houses, and some of them give us treats, and they really welcome us in because we've been going there for years and years and years.
Now, does any one year stick out in your mind over all the others? I mean, for 77 years, is there like one year that's like always in your mind?
I guess back when I went with my dad. My dad used to go, and he quit because of he had arthritis in his hands, and these guns really jar you. And I enjoyed going with him.
Now, traditions like these, in America, do you feel like they're important to keep the tradition going?
Oh yes, I think they should. I know a lot of people wish we'd stop, but they just don't know the history behind all this, or don't care about it, I guess you'd say. But I think should continue on and on and on and on, and I hope it does.
Now, as far as shooting at the stadium, which the Cherryville New Year's Shooters ends at 6:30 on New Year's Day at Rudisill Stadium. Now, the shooters have a lease with the stadium, and in that lease, it says there's a clause by the North Carolina state statute that muskets are allowed as ceremonial weapons to be fired. So that's the clause that allows the Cherryville New Year's Shooters to shoot on school property.
Well, I think that's great, and you know, back when I first started, we didn't have maybe 20, 30 people that would shoot, and now we got about 400 or better. And we do have insurance now, which we used to did not have.
Yeah, last year was over 500 that signed up, and this year would probably be that or more. And a lot of it depends on the weather, of course.
Well, I can remember years when we would have 10, 15 people to shoot because it'd be snowing or raining, and people wouldn't get out of their cars to shoot because these guns in rain, it's terrible because they don't go off. Your powder gets wet. People say keep your powder dry, and you do have to keep your powder dry. But we've had some rough times. Snow is not that bad as rain is.
Now, 77 years, so it's straight. The Cherryville New Year's Shooters, they shoot in rain, sleet, snow, really in all conditions.
It doesn't matter what it's doing, we shoot.
Now, the shoot lasts approximately 19 hours, and I think it's 50 stops this year. And there's two groups. There's the Cherryville New Year's Shooters that starts at Black's Grill, and there's also the traditional New Year's Shooters that will start at City Hall here in Cherryville. The city is having an event from 10:30 to 1 a.m., and their shot will start at City Hall. And the original Cherryville New Year's Shooters, the original group, will start at Black's Grill, and they will finish at Rudisill Stadium at 6:30 New Year's Day.
And that is a great shot there. If anybody wants to see them, that's the place to go. You can sit in the stands and watch us, and you're safe there.
Now, two groups. Do you have any inkling why the groups kind of – there was one big group, and then they kind of split two different directions?
Well, I was young when all this happened, and my understanding was we had several people that wanted to run it, so they split up. That's what I heard.
So too many leaders and not enough followers.
Yeah, that's the story I heard. But like I say, I was young when this happened, so I don't know the whole story.
Well, when you have, I think the other group has 250 shooters, and our group has 500. So I mean, that's too many shooters to get it because we're in some tight places. And the Cherryville New Year's Shooters it covers 3 different counties. That's Gaston, Lincoln, and Cleveland counties, and around 50 stops. Now, we start out in Cherryville at midnight and go around in Cherryville with 3 or 4 stops, and then we go up to Vail Cat Square area.
Right, and most of those people up in that area, we've been shooting with them for years and years and years and years. Some of the families have passed away, but their children still have us come in.
All righty. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to fire off a musket. So give us a second here, and I'm going to load one up for you. Okay. How's your fingers? Now, I want to ask you, okay, now back to injuries. Have we ever had any major injuries?
Yes, a few.
As in lost fingers?
Yes. We had one guy whose fingers, he blowed a couple of his fingers off, Joe Bridges. My understanding was he put some cake in his gun.
Cake?
Yeah.
As in cake. Birthday cake or something, New Year's cake.
He put some powder and some cake in it and blew the barrel up.
So do not put cake in a musket.
That was my story.
And you're sticking to it.
I'm sticking to it. No, I've blown guns up.
So you've blown some guns up.
Okay. And I don't know why. Well, they told me what it was. They welded the tube in it too many times, and the barrel got thin. And see, my wife used to go shooting with me too, and she had just shot the gun right before I shot it, and it blowed up.
Well, that's one thing about New Year's shooting is all people from all nationalities, genders, races shoot. Women shoot. They come from like one year we had like 14 states represented, and I know this year we had some people coming from Pennsylvania, Maryland, Florida. So they've already contacted us. So basically, there'll be people from all around the country in the little town of Cherryville, North Carolina.
Yeah, population like 6,000.
Yeah, a little over 6,000, and there'll be thousands of people here on New Year's.
Right. And I don't know how many hundreds we have at the stadium, but that's a big deal there.
Well, we'll grab a musket and show the audience a musket here, and we'll explain kind of how we load a musket and shoot it, and the chant, and kind of how we go about things.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay, we're back. I've had a wardrobe change, so this is usually what I wear for New Year's shooting. So it's a little cool today. So we're getting ready to shoot in 2025 for the Cherryville New Year's shooters. And Charles is going to explain a little bit about a musket here. And Charles, what have you got here?
Well, I got a Springfield musket here. This is a reproduction. It's 1847, and very nice gun. But these guns, you have to have a cap to shoot. You put it on the tube here, and we use a film box to pour the powder in. You usually fill that up and pour it in, put the cap on it, and shoot it.
Now that canister there is about, I think 4 to 5 times more than the recommended allowance.
I said earlier, you put a lot more powder in it than you would if you was going to shoot at a bird or a dog or something.
Now some guys shoot 2 or 3 of those.
Yeah, they're not very smart.
Now that's a long gun, but some shooters shoot short guns too.
Right. A lot of them take them and cut them off, and I don't know why they do that, but they do.
Well, a lot of them say it's easier to get in and out of their car.
Well, that could be too.
Okay, now here's some powder. This is black powder. You can't use any other kind of powder. You have to use black powder. Now how much you gonna put in there?
How much you want me to?
Are we gonna have the law called on us? That's good. That's enough.
Putting a half a load.
It's half of a normal load.
Half of what I shoot.
Like so you shoot one film canister.
Full.
So that goes in. There's no projectile. It's just black powder.
There's no projectile in it. There's no wadding. No nothing.
And then a cap.
Now, cap, and you always wait till you get out away from people before you put this cap on.
So which way you gonna shoot? You gonna shoot out that way? Okay, I'm getting out of your way. That's pretty loud. That's loud enough.
See, that was a half a load.
So it didn't kick too bad with that.
It didn't kick me at all.
That barrel's warm.
I know it.
Feels good. Well, there you have it, guys. From the Wise News Network, I'm Rusty Wise reporting with the president of the Cherryville New Year's Shooters, Charles Sisk. Been going 77 years, and we welcome in 2025 from Cherryville, North Carolina with the Cherryville New Year's Shooters. We hope everyone has a happy new year and a safe and blessed upcoming year. Rusty Wise with the Wise News Network from Cherryville. Come see the Cherryville New Year's Shooters.